The Africa that I want is a continent where children and young people have the opportunity to reach their full potential. I want a continent that is truly non-sexist, where women's roles are recognized and they are recognized as equal partner. And I want a continent where there's prosperity, where we have transport links, where we have access to reliable and renewable energy, and a continent that is truly Pan-African.
I want is an African continent whereby people can move freely, where we can discover our continent, where we can ride a train from one country to another and discover our differences, our culture, our beautiful, beautiful and colorful Africa. A continent where people don't have to die and don't have to go outside of the continent to look for a job. A continent where peace and security reside. We don't talk much about instability on the continent, but really economic development. A continent that is attracting tourists from all over the world to come to this beautiful, beautiful continent and to look at our continent, our diversities, our differences, and our commonalities. I think that we want also in Africa whereby we're much respected, where we love our dear continent, where we are proud ourselves and move. And so this is Africa I want.
The Africa I want is the Africa that will be looked at by the international community with envy. The Africa I want is an African continent free of hunger, free of violence, free of disease. I want an Africa in which our children and our children to come will enjoy love, freedom, and prosperity. The Africa I want is the Africa in which nobody will never talk about violence against women, will never talk about discrimination against women. I want our children to grow not having this kind of stereotype in their mind.
The Africa I want is the Africa that is at peace with itself.
The Africa I want is the implementation of Agenda 26.3. What I like in it is silencing the gun by 2020. We say that the guns, the conflict, and the war will stop. And by doing that, what I like and what I want to see is that we make sure that women are no longer victims of violence, but agents for change. The women leadership should be prominent in our continent, not just as seeing them being violated, but seeing them making the change. Women head of states that can transform. Women head of AU, we already have one, but we need more in the organs. We need to see women transforming in all sectors. That's the Africa I want to see.
The Africa I want to see 50 years from now is an Africa where women are fully empowered, where women are key agents of economic growth, where women benefit from Africa's resources, and where women's burden of care is reduced, and where women take charge of their bodies, and where women are free from violence and discrimination.
The Africa I want is for us to have more clinics. It's like my village. We don't have much clinics. Even when we want to go to clinic, we take about 2 kilometers to go there, and we want some more clinics. And another one, we want police stations near our community, because when a crime is done, it's hard to report it because it's too far to walk, and some people are so lazy to go there. And the third one, want like balls, because we're drinking dam water. We don't know where it comes from, and we are just drinking it, and I don't think we're we are in a good health.
The Africa I want is one in which young people, girls and women especially, are heard even at the highest policy-making levels like the African Union, so that policies and development plans respond to the needs and wants of the most vulnerable people in this continent.
The Africa that I would want is an Africa where young women have the choice and they're leaders of their own lives. Working at the World YWCA, I've seen a lot of young women who have grown up in places where they don't really get the opportunities to fulfill a real life, to fulfill their life and grow their dreams. Lack of education, some of them get married young, some of them never finish education due to traditions or other things. Some of them don't even know what it is to dream for an Africa that they would see better. So for me, an Africa would not just be an Africa that makes sure that young women don't die early because of sicknesses that can be prevented, or that they're educated, but an Africa that also grows these women further, so that the women nowadays that we see talking about women empowerment, those will be replaced by the young women who actually felt the empowerment. These young women who experience it will later on be able to share it. My Africa in the future will be an Africa where we have a position together, along with the young men of this time, where we have a position of control of our own lives, where we get to dream big, where we get to do big as well. We talk a lot, but we also understand that we have to have action.
The Africa I want is an Africa in which my grandchildren will be people who have facilities. They don't have to worry about their education, health facilities, peace and security. That's the Africa that I want. And we have said this so often in the AU. Women want to take part in leadership. They must have a voice. They must participate in governance. And I want an Africa that has clean governance. We really must get rid of corruption in Africa so that we don't have to pay to get our children into school or for health facilities. We want democracy in Africa. We don't want elections where people, mismanage ballot boxes and things like that. We need people of integrity and high morality. That's the Africa I want.
Nous rêvons d'une Afrique sans guerre. Nous rêvons d'une Afrique développée. Nous rêvons d'une Afrique où nous disposerons de nos ressources. Nous rêvons d'une Afrique où nous disposerons de nous-mêmes, sans pour autant rejeter la collaboration qui est nécessaire. Et nous sommes convaincus aussi d'une chose, c'est que nous aurons à brûler des étapes. Nous ne passerons pas forcément par les étapes par lesquelles les pays dits développés sont passés, parce que nous allons bénéficier de leurs acquis. Mais tout en bénéficiant de leurs acquis, nous voudrions vraiment être nous-mêmes. Mais pour cela, il faudrait que nous nous prenions en charge.
The Africa I want is an Africa that is free of HIV/AIDS, an Africa that prioritizes looking after the young women, the young girls, and the young boys, as well as adults. An Africa that ensures treatment for every person in need of treatment, that is aspiring to end AIDS by 2030.